What if we could convert those tunnels into a movie experience? How about telling the story of William Green and the engineers hearing the chipping away of rock as these engineers create what are the fortifications? How about telling a story of, let's say, the Great Siege? And who could be those storytellers? So what started off as a sketch, as a few ideas, then developed into a concept, a storyboard, a script. And last weekend, we were in Prague with Fortress Attractions, who have invested heavily into what is a short movie that will tell the story of the Great Siege. So you'll be immersed in what is an experience of hardship, of what were 3 years condensed into 8 minutes of what was Gibraltar like. So that is what we have been working on. I dragged David and a crowd over. They're still probably regretting it because it was an intense 2 days. But I do believe it was worth it, and soon the Gibraltar crowd will be able to enjoy that.
So what is that going to be called? What's that actual movie called?
So the branding that's gone into the experience that Fortress is investing in are the three empires. Thanks. So we have what is from the Moorish Empire, that story will be told in the castle. The Spanish Empire is one which has been researched. So this is one that we have some spaces allocated within the northern defences that can tell that story of engineers, of monarchy, what is in a generation, a small kingdom becomes a world empire. How do you do that? Yeah? So I think that's a fascinating story. And then we go into the British Empire, which is we're all very proud of, and we need to tell that. So within the tunnels themselves, we will be telling the story of 300 years of what is the occupation of Gibraltar, different attacks, Utrecht, and the Great Siege is obviously a key moment that defines Gibraltar. In fact, it defines the world. Yorktown falls with the battle for American independence is also related to what is the Great Siege, and very few people know that. It's because convoys are diverted to Gibraltar instead of the Americas, and the colonies eventually take over. So these are moments that were not taught to me in school, and nothing happens in isolation. One needs to step back and see global context, and then you see the value, or the true value, of this little place that we call home.
Talking about the Moorish Castle, if we can, it's probably one of our most iconic sites, isn't it, locally? It's been closed for some time. How are works going there?
Works are coming along nicely and nearly ready now. The castle is nearly ready to open. You mentioned the word iconic, and that's very... it's important to mention to the public that we're not trying to change the core fundamentals of the building. So the battlements around the outer keep are open for the first time. Certain murder holes have been exposed, which are quite cool little features that didn't once visible in the past. And then apart from that, we've also added some auxiliary spaces around the castle grounds, which we've built from scratch. And those will include slightly more commercial entities that would allow you to buy a cup of coffee or a drink, which you couldn't do in the past. We've opened up a new terrace and incorporated an Arabic-style fountain to create a sort of like an oasis in a busy space. In order to get to the cafe, you do have to get through the dungeon experience, but that in its own right is going to be a fascinating experience. And what that does is it showcases the parts of the prison that were in use up until quite recently. And again, not changing too much of it, trying to give the user a real genuine experience, incorporating some additional aspects, effects, a little bit more of an eerie feeling to try and sort of evoke that emotion.